Welcome in everybody to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Devin, joined by my co-host, Jaden, and we're coming to you guys on a Tuesday, a day before we normally drop, which is usually on Wednesdays due, to the season being over. The regular season is over. We're on to the playoffs. Games are no longer going to be finishing on Mondays, so we're going to be recording these episodes on either Sunday or Saturday during the rest of the playoffs and the off season going forward. And man, what a way to end the regular season. I mean, a year that feels like has had 20 game of the years ends with another one. I mean, this game was looking like it was going to be a typical AFC North type of game, a 13-17, a 16-10 type of game. And man, was it the complete opposite. I mean, an electric fourth quarter from both teams coming down to literally the last play of the game. And the Ravens, unfortunately, missed the field goal, sending the Steelers to the playoffs. And pretty ironic, considering, what has happened with the kickers down there in Baltimore over this past year. But, yeah, what a game. What a game to send us into the playoffs. And, man, I'm so excited. We're obviously going to go over every single wildcard game in this episode, give our thoughts, reviews of it, and obviously give our picks. And I just think this playoffs are going to be electric. I mean, with how this regular season has shaped up, I really think the playoffs are going to top it, if that's even possible. But I think there's a good chance that it can. So, we're going to go over that. We're going to go over every single wild card game. As I mentioned, I got a little bit of NFL news to talk about. Not too much, but some involving my Raiders if you're keeping up with the NFL a little bit. But before all of that, let's get into some pregame talk with my main man, Jaden. What do we got today?
All right, so this is coming off of, the game we just got finished with. And I had a question. It's, do you think there's any single play in sports that has more pressure behind it for, like a single player in this situation, the kicker, than having to kick a game-winning or game-tying field goal? In this type of atmosphere, on the road, playoff atmosphere, in any sport, is there any more pressure on one player?
I really don't think I really don't think there is. I mean, I don't know how you can get much more pressured than a kicker in a situation like that. And it sucks because it's so easy to knock them when it's like all you have to do is kick. But there's so much that goes into it, during the play, as long as the snap, the hold, if someone misses a blocking assignment, there's so much that goes into it, the wind, the weather. But yeah, I mean, even on other sports, I mean, you think of like a free throw to tie the game on a road situation. But again, that's a lot easier than a field goal. I was thinking
like a bottom of the ninth inning, 3-2 pitch count.
But again,
but that's pressure on both players. There's two players involved with that,
right? And I think it's also not like
a pitcher.
It's not as close to it because it's not like a for sure thing. Like obviously, I don't know the numbers, but I don't know what the percentage is of a batter going up to plate, and like what is the percentage that they get to first base or hit a home run or get a double or get an RBI. Like there's like a field goal has like mid to high 70% chance to go in, and depending on the kicker, I mean it could be even higher. It could be an 80 to 90% kicker.
I also feel like the umpire can play a role in that too. Like they could make a bad call, call something a ball when it was, in the strike zone. Yeah. So it's like on this, it's just literally all the kickers. You just got to kick the ball through the upright. There's no refs, no nothing. You can't say, "Oh, the refs hold us," all this, unless I guess they miss like an offsides or something, and the kick gets blocked. But in terms of kicking the ball, just getting it through the upright, I was just curious. Like, do you think there's anything close?
I don't think. I mean, even if
penalty kicks in soccer,
that's a good one. But again, I think. I don't know.
'Cause you got to think like those soccer atmospheres are crazy.
I think it's more pressure on the goalie in that scenario though, because I feel like as the kicker of that, you have the advantage. You know what I mean? I feel like the goalie part for sure I could see it being on par with it because that's a lot more pressure.
And I feel like the goalie, I mean, I don't watch a lot of soccer, but I feel like when say the penalty kick is made and, you know, they win the game off that, or however many penalty kicks they kick, I feel like the goalie doesn't get blamed that much.
Yeah.
As it would be if the player were to miss the penalty.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, and that's why I say, like, I don't think there is. I don't think there is a bigger pressure, because even just trying to keep it on the NFL, like, I'm trying to think maybe if it's like a goal line situation and you're a corner on the boundary 1-on-1, like with one of the better receivers, like I can see that being super high pressure. But again, I don't.
But at
think
the same time, the play doesn't
kicker.
Always end in your hands, and
they
could just go the opposite way. The play will start and end with the kicker, no matter what.
Yeah,
it's gonna go through the kicker, unless it's, I guess, a botch snap and he doesn't even get a chance to kick it.
Yeah. But, so I don't even see, because there's nothing. There's really nothing else that I can think of. Like again, there's definitely high pressure situations, but I don't think there's none that compare to a kicker, man. I really don't. And it sucks because obviously, again, it's very easy to blame them when they miss because, again, all it is kicking. But it's so much more difficult than that. So much more. There's so much that goes into it. And I feel for them, man. I feel for them. Like, as soon as he missed that kick, he immediately put his hands inside of his face mask and ducked his head. And I'm like, dude, like, I can't even imagine, bro. Like obviously people find themselves just looking at these players as just players. But I mean, bro, they're humans with emotions, and to have to live with that, not only at that moment, but for the rest of the offseason and really the rest of your career, you're going to have that in the back of your head. I mean, it's rough, bro. It's rough. And he had been, a solid kicker throughout his rookie year. And yeah, for it to come down like that, man, I feel for the kid. I mean, that's rough. That's rough. But yeah, a great pregame talk as always. As I mentioned, I have a little bit to get into regarding this past weekend of football before we get into these wild card games. Starting out, I want to start out with my Raiders. We talked about this a little bit last episode, but we've secured the number 1 overall pick, and it's the first time since 2007. It's the highest pick that I've ever witnessed in my life as a Raider fan. Before that, I think it was 4 or 5. No, I think it was 4 with Khalil Mack. And I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm worried. I want them to make the right pick. And there's 2 quarterbacks at the top of the board, in Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore. It's really tough for me to try to find who I lean towards more. I really felt like, no pun intended, I really felt like I was leaning towards Dante Moore. But then again, I mean, you see how classy Fernando is, and I get it. He's a little bit corny. He doesn't have much aura. He's a big nerd. But I mean, you look at a player like Andrew Luck coming out. Luck was a huge nerd. I mean, that was a lot of things that people would talk about with him. And it's like it's a safe thing. Like, oh, bring this guy who has no problems into Vegas, where it feels like they have a tons of trouble over there. And it's very easy to say that, but I also really, really like Dante Moore as a prospect. So it's like, I'm stuck, man. I hope they do their due diligence, make the right pick, and, hopefully it can be the start of something. It is nerve-wracking regardless, even if Fernando or Dante Moore does turn out to be an amazing player. At the end of the day, the Raiders are one of the worst ran franchises in all of sports, and no matter who you have back there, it's tough to overcome that. That's a problem that I look at kind of similar in Washington, where I in the back of my head, I'm a little bit worried for Jaden Daniels, despite being, an incredible talent. I'm nervous if they're doing things correct over there, putting them in the right position to succeed, especially after this second year. But yeah, I'm like I mentioned, I have all the emotions going through right now after the news of the Raiders clinching the number 1 pick, and I hope we get our guy. That's all I can say. We got 1 or 2 decisions, and I hope they make the right one. And who knows? Maybe there is no wrong one. Maybe they both end up being, top 15, 12-ish quarterbacks in this league. They both end up with pretty good careers, but yeah, I'm stoked, I guess is the big thing here. Next bit of news, Myles Garrett finally did it. He broke the record. He was looking like it was getting a little bit shaky there. I think he had like a half sack in like his past 2 games, and when it was looking like he was going to destroy the record, he ended up only breaking it by half a sack, which that's all you needed. He's got the record. He's cemented in history as the all-time sack leader, a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive players we've ever seen in this league. Myles Garrett is your all-time sack leader in a season. Congrats to him. The other bit of news, we talked about this a little bit, I think, last episode. Maybe it was a few episodes ago now. But the Jets did it. If you're wondering what I mean by that, they completed a 17-game NFL season with 0 interceptions. A record that will never be broken because it's impossible to get lower than 0. I think they said the last time this happened was in 1933. That's some rough stuff. I mean, to be a defensive-minded head coach and that's how it goes. I get it. The Jets are a bad team. They got, they really don't have much talent out there at really any position. Let's be honest here. But just, I guess the Jets doing Jets things is really all you can say there. And my final bit of news that I want to get into is some pretty big one. The Seahawks and offensive tackle Charles Cross have agreed to terms on a massive 4-year, $104.4 million extension. The former number 9 overall pick in 2022 has been one of several home run draft picks by GM John Schneider. And that's a great, second hit there with GM John Schneider really just having amazing drafts over the past 3 years for Seattle, and Charles Cross obviously being one of his bigger ones. And yeah, he's been a great player for them through his time there. I know he's missed, I think, the past 3 games now for Seattle, but he'll be healthy to go in the divisional with the Seahawks receiving the first round bye. And yeah, a great young player locked up for 4 more years. Seattle's got a bright future over there for this next, 3-ish year window, I would say. Maybe even more. Maybe it's more like 3 to 5-ish. But yeah, Seattle's going to be a great team for a good amount of time here and securing up a franchise tackle at that. A great decision by them, and I'm happy that they got that done. So that's really everything that I wanted to go over before we get into this wildcard weekend. I'm so stoked to go over these games. So I didn't have a ton to talk about, but there were a few things on there that I needed to mention. So without further ado, man, let's just do it. Let's get into these wildcard games, give our thoughts, give our picks. On Saturday, we actually have a 3-game slate here of Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We have Rams at Panthers on Saturday, Packers and Bears. Then on Sunday, we have Bills, Jags, Niners, Eagles, Chargers, Patriots, and the Texans, Steelers on Monday. We'll start out with our Saturday games. The Carolina Panthers will be hosting the Los Angeles Rams. I think we can both agree that we're going to go Rams here, despite them sliding the past few weeks, obviously losing to the Seahawks and the Falcons. I think the Rams comfortably take this, though. But I do think it's a really good success story for the Panthers to see where they have been really the past, 7 years of being one of the biggest embarrassments in football. And for them to be hosting a playoff game, that's some great stuff. So I'm excited for their fans. It's great to see over there. I'm hoping one day my Raiders can do something like that. But no, in all seriousness, amazing for that team, for that organization, for that city, for that state. But I think I'm going Rams here comfortably. Are you? I'm assuming you're with me.
I don't know. I mean, the Panthers beat the Rams. Nah. I think,
that is true.
The Rams are gonna take that, and
and
I feel like a lot of. I mean, this is how it is every year with the playoffs, but you have to be kind of on a roll going into the playoffs, and I'll point this out with a couple other teams as we go through the games, but The Panthers in specific have just not been looking too crazy recently. They're 1-3 in their last 4 games since their bye week. 2-game losing streak. Granted, they played, the Seahawks, the Bucks, that lost a pretty bad game to the Saints, which, made this last week of the season, a lot closer than it had to be for them. But yeah, I just, they're not on fire or anything going into this wild card, and neither are the Rams. But I think the Rams are just overall the far better team.
Right. Yeah, and I think in reality, it's a good building block year for the Panthers. I mean, you come out in this season really not expecting a whole ton. You just really wanted to be competitive. I mean, I looked at this team as probably a 6 to 7 win team at most, and it's like they went out there. I mean, again, they only won 8 games, but they won the division. That's all they needed to win it, and they did it. So congrats to them. And yeah, I unfortunately though, I think the Rams are going to probably handle them pretty easily. Moving on to our other game on Saturday, we have the Packers-Bears. A rematch of a game a few weeks ago now, which was, you could argue, game of the year, despite not being a super high scoring game. The madness that went on at the final few minutes of that game puts it up there with some of the best games we've seen all year. And this is the one that I'm having one of the most troubles with during this first weekend. I'm really up in the air here. I mean, I don't know if there's let's see. I don't know, because there is one team that I'm slightly leaning towards, and I wonder if you're there with me. Do you have a team you're for sure picking here, or are you kind of up in the air?
I'm going Bears. Similar with my last reason for the Panthers. The Packers have just not, they're on a 4-game losing streak. They lost Micah Parsons. Jordan Love is banged up.
Yeah.
I believe, are they down? Is Christian Watson hurt too?
I'm pretty sure he went down.
I mean, they're down with a lot of it. Is Zach Tom back yet? I know he was hurt. That was a minute ago. But I think is he still out, or is he back?
Honestly, I'm not. I haven't kept up with their injury news, but
anyways, they're banged up. They're missing their best player on the defensive side, or one of the best players in the league on the defensive side. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They played good teams, and it's not like they've had horrible losses. But I think I'm going to lean Bears at home, Soldier Field.
Those are some good points, and honestly, I think you did convince me, because in the back of my head here, I was slightly leaning towards the Packers, and I think one point that I wasn't really thinking of was Jordan Love, obviously being banged up, coming back from that injury. And I looked at the last game that they did play against each other, and the fact that the Packers had pretty good control over the game up until that Love injury. And obviously the Bears needed, something historical to happen to come back, but it seems like they do that almost every single week, which is nerve-wracking. Like, I don't want to put that away, and it's not a shot at the Bears, but it's kind of like a Vikings of a few years ago, where it's like, I think they were like an 11 win, 12 win team, and maybe even 13 now that I'm thinking about it. And it's like they had like 10 one-score wins, and they got to the playoffs and they lost to a team in the Giants that I want to say made the playoffs at like 9-7-1 or something like that. And it's like, it's hard to sustain that, especially once you get into these playoff games, which are much more tightly coached. And it worries me with the Bears. That's another reason why I was slightly leaning towards the Packers in my original thought, but I think you convinced me. I think I'm going to rock with you here and go Bears at home, taking on the Packers. So Rams, Bears is our winners for that Saturday day games.
Yeah, I mean, I also looking at their injury report, I think Zach Tom will be back. He was questionable going into this, final regular season game. he's not on IR or nothing. So I mean, he probably will be back. Dontavian Wicks, he missed this game with a concussion, which he should be back as well. But Malik Willis is the other one on the injury report. Which, I mean, if Jordan Love, messes up that shoulder anymore, and Malik Willis still isn't right, he's got a shoulder and a hamstring injury. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'll be rolling out the rest of that game with Desmond Ridder. So,
yeah. I think as a Falcon fan, that's not going to go so well.
Without Malik Willis had a couple, decent performances, to close out this season, you felt comfortable with, as a Packers fan, you might have felt comfortable, with the slightly banged up Jordan Love, having Malik Willis back there to back him up. But if Malik Willis isn't healthy either, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, Malik's going to get paid this offseason. He's going to go to a team. I think there's a good chance he could be starting next year in a situation. I've even seen him, linked to the Falcons, considering that Penix probably won't start. Not probably, definitely won't start the year. So, but yeah, he's definitely going to get some money because he's developed well over there in Green Bay. Moving on to our Sunday games, we have our first game being the Bills-Jaguars. This one, again, these games, we're going to get to our other, 3 more games after this, but the only one that I see that's really easy for me is that first game that we talked about, the Rams-Panthers. Everything else is like really up in the air, and specifically this game. I mean, you have, an MVP of last year in Josh Allen, still without a doubt a top 5 quarterback. Probably even higher, but I'm just saying top 5 right now, quarterback in the league, going up against one of, if not the hottest team in the league right now. Jacksonville, I want to say, is entering the playoffs on a 9-game winning streak. Again, it's tough, man, because it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go with Josh Allen. He's a Hall of Famer, top 5 quarterback, former MVP. But the Jaguars are so good, bro. They're playing such good football, and I think with that, I think I'm gonna go Jacksonville. And this is like without a doubt Josh Allen. I guess you can say, quote unquote easiest path to a Super Bowl, considering Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow aren't in the playoffs, but the AFC has got a lot more talent than we thought. I mean, Jacksonville, New England, Houston in their own division. It's going to be tough. Or I should say in the Jaguars division. I say they're not the Bills, but I think I'm going to go Jacksonville here. Are you in similar thinking, or are you rocking with Josh over there?
Yeah, I was having tough picking on this one too. I think I'm probably gonna lean Jacksonville as well.
Yeah, they just been playing good football, man. That's really all it is. I mean,
their defense. I don't know. I feel like, the Buffalo's offensive line hasn't looked great in this later part of the year. They gave up like 6 sacks to the Chiefs. The Eagles a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. 5 sacks. Couple sacks to the Browns. I don't know. I don't know. Josh Hines Allen might get him a taste of Josh Allen himself.
Yeah. And that's going to be unfortunate, man, especially if the Bills are a first-round exit team in a year where the other big 3 aren't in there. Man, that's going to be a bad look. I think Sean McDermott is 100% gone if that happens. And the Bills, I really think that's the same way with the Bills and the Ravens, because obviously the Ravens missed this year. I think, John Harbaugh needs to go. And I think that both of these teams really not need a reset, but I think they really need to reevaluate their roster and make some big changes, because you can't go into next year with a similar team and with the same head coach that has not got you over the hump yet. I really think they need to reevaluate a lot of things over there for both of those teams. But yeah, we're both gonna go Jacksonville here. The next game we got on this Sunday slate is the number 6 seeded 49ers against the number 3 seeded Eagles. And this one for me is pretty easy. I'm going to go Niners. I just have not been a huge fan of the Eagles this year. I don't even think Eagles fans have been a fan of their team this year. I mean, the offensive struggles are very prominent, and it's hard to have faith that this team can do what they did last year when Saquon has not looked like the player he was last year. The receivers are not getting the ball as much. The offense is not flowing. And the 49ers, on the other hand, have been playing some good football. You know, I know obviously last week was ugly with the fight, or not last week, but this past week, I should say, was pretty ugly when they were going against the Seahawks. But again, the Seahawks are maybe the best team in the entire league, so they're going to do that to teams. But yeah, I think I'm going to go Niners here pretty comfortably. I just have no faith in the Eagles. I don't even know if there's – I want to say I don't know if there's a world where I can see them winning this, but that seems crazy. There 100% is a world where I can see them winning this. But I think the Niners handle them personally. Where are you at with this game?
Honestly, I'm going to take the other side. I think I'm gonna go with the Eagles on this one in Philly. I think and this kind of just piggybacks off of just the Niners' last game and how, you know, banged up they are at wide receiver. And if you think about it, the Eagles kind of match up pretty well. I mean, with how elite their secondary is, or their two main guys in the secondary, I think that could cause a lot of problems for the Niners. And if they could, keen in on McCaffrey and kind of, hold him down as we seen him get held down last week, I think they have a good shot. And, and offensively, obviously, the narrative all year hasn't been great around the Eagles, and they know that themselves. And, having a chance to play at home in the playoffs, what more, better opportunity would it be to just, go crazy? You got Saquon Barkley, you got A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have this good offensive line. What's Lane Johnson's status?
That's
He's
a
been
good
pretty
question.
banged up recently too.
I was just thinking that to myself, because obviously he had the big time injury that knocked him out for a while. Has he been back injury since then? Let me see if I can look.
He definitely didn't play this week. They said he made an appearance at practice a couple days ago. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say he will be playing, because the injury's not. Yeah, this report says he expected to return for the playoffs. And Lane Johnson's just one of those guys that will play through an injury. Yeah. He played through an injury when they won the Super Bowl, right?
I want to say so, yeah.
Not the recent one. The old
you're talking
one.
about the 17, yeah. I want to say so.
But yeah, I think they kind of match up well with the Niners and how banged up the Niners are. And, there's talks of Fred Warner trying to come back. I doubt it. There's no way he's back next week.
The reports were that he wants to return in the divisional. So that's why that last game was so huge, because obviously if they could have gotten that first round bye, he would have been good to go. But yeah, I don't see a world where he plays this week.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the Eagles odds. I think they match up kind of well.
No, that's a good point. And again, like, even that's some huge news if Lane Johnson is able to return. I mean, this Eagles offense it's like so different with him out there. I mean, you see the graphics where it's like their record with him versus without, and it's a complete 180. I mean, it's crazy. So
and I've seen some film breakdown on like Landon Dickerson this year. I mean, he's just been awful this year.
Yeah,
and I could see why, Lane Johnson being out could be causing problems, because having Lane Johnson, I mean, that's a complete island over there. You don't have to send any help, double teams on that side. Obviously, maybe combo block here and there, but you don't really got to do it his way. Or I guess if the run is going his way, you got to kind of do it. But with that being said, I mean, if he's back, it makes the Landon Dickerson issue not as bad. Okay. But
It's a good one. It's the first one we differ on. I like it. Our last game on this
also,
Sunday.
too, I just want to say I have a motive also for rooting for the Eagles. The group chat, a lot of Niners fans. Yeah. Obviously, we're from California. I want to see them lose so bad right now. So, yeah, that's also some more motivation to pick the Eagles.
That's a fair point.
But everything I completely said was unbiased. That's my bias part. This might be one of the few games where I'm rooting for a team to win.
I get it. Our last game that we're going to look at on this Sunday slate is the Patriots-Chargers. And I think this has the making to be a good game, but I do like the Patriots a lot in this one. The Chargers have obviously been one of the most banged up teams in the league, especially on that offensive line, losing both of their franchise tackles. And man, I mean, almost everybody on that offensive line shouldn't be starting in this league, and they are trying to protect Justin Herbert. I mean, you see the plays where he snaps a ball and he's pressured in half a second. I mean, it's almost like if they forgot they were playing football. So that's the one part that worries me. Now, the Patriots are not this elite pass rushing team, but again, the Chargers, I think, with those injuries, might have the worst offensive line in the league as far as pass blocking wise. So I could see the Patriots giving them some trouble there. But again, that Chargers defense is really good. Really, really good. It's going to be one of the better defenses that Drake May has seen this whole year. So it's going to be interesting to see how he answers that. But I just like the Patriots here. I like the potential MVP in Drake May in this game. It would be unfortunate for him to go out with a wild card exit. So I'm going to go with the Patriots here. Where are you at with this?
I'm also going to lean Patriots. I think it's going to be a fairly close game.
Yeah, I think so.
Up until the end. I could see it right now. The Drake May game-winning drive, help his MVP odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Patriots in this.
Yeah.
And close game, though. I don't think they're going to, a 2-7 matchup. Normally you think, team might, walk the other team. But I think it'll be a close game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think that's the way with, honestly, both sides. I mean, again, we see on the other side with the Bears-Packers, I'm not looking at the Bears as a 2 seed as this monster that's going to walk down the AFC. And even with the Patriots, despite both of these teams being really good, it's a very evenly matched playoffs like this. I'm so excited, bro. I'm going to be locked in on every single one of these games. I'm stoked, bro. I could not wait for the playoffs to get here, and they finally are. It sucks that the season is coming to an end, but again, as a Raider fan, I've been looking forward to the offseason for a while. But yeah, we both are leaning Patriots here once again. And our final game of this wild card weekend will be the Texans and the Steelers, number 5 seed at the number 4 seed. The Steelers will be hosting this game. And I'm pretty sure we're going to probably have the same thought here. Again, the Texans are one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Their defense is without a doubt the best in the league. And I like them over the Steelers. Despite their offense still giving me some scares, I don't think this team has went on this unreal run starting out at 0-3 to just fall short in the wild card. I think they have been a much better team than the Steelers this year. And I like them I wouldn't say comfortably. I think it will be a very nasty type of game. It probably will be 17-10, 14-13 type of thing. But I just like the Texans to come up with the dub here. If they need that stop on Rodgers at the end, I'm going to have confidence that the best defense in the league can get that done. Where are you at with this one?
I'm gonna go Texans. I think their defensive line is gonna eat Rodgers alive.
Yeah,
I think it could be an ugly game, but I think it also could be an ugly 2-score game. I don't know if the Steelers score a touchdown. Get a couple field goals up, bro. I don't know.
That's a fair point. And again,
maybe like a 16-6 game. I'm feeling.
Yeah, I mean that's the typical Steeler type of game, and it would be storybook for the Steelers season to end like that. They finish above 500, losing the wild card, and Mike Tomlin keeps his job, and Steelers fans are going to continue to be happy, I guess. I don't know. I hate that mindset. I hate that motto. If I was a Steeler fan, I would honestly be livid about that. I feel like the fans that I see online, I feel like it's very 50-50, where it's like, we have this head coach that has never been below 500. My whole life, I've never seen a team be below 500. You get these playoff appearances, but again, it's 9-7, 9-8, and you're out in the wild card. Like, that's what you want to see every year. I think Tomlin should have been gone a while ago, I'm being honest. And it's not a knock on him as being this terrible coach, but the name of the sport is your ceiling. I mean, it goes the same way with quarterbacks. I mean, you could have a quarterback that's a consistent 28 to 25 touchdowns a year. At the end of the day, if you can't be that upper echelon and get those wins and show up in those moments when it matters, it's just I don't have no care for you. And I feel like that's the same way with Tomlin. Obviously, he's got the Super Bowls, but that was almost 20 years ago now, man. So, yeah, I think the Texans take this one pretty comfortably. And yeah, that's every single game for this wild card weekend that we wanted to talk about in this episode. I think we're going to get into a little bit of off the field. We haven't done this for a while now, and I want to start off here. Stranger Things came to an end after 5 seasons. It ended last week on the 31st, New Year's Eve. And if you're anything familiar with the show, and if you've been online at all, you know that this last season and this last episode was not very great. It was pretty bad. A lot of things went bad. Now, it wasn't, even though I've never watched it, it wasn't Game of Thrones bad from what everybody's saying, but it was still not good. And that sucks to say, because I was late to join the party for Stranger Things. I finally started watching like early 2022 before season 4 came out, because there was so much hype behind it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna finally watch it. I'm gonna give it a try. I knew, like, that's the thing with a lot of shows. I know these shows are gonna be great, but for some reason I just hold off on it, despite, like, I consider myself a big, like, I would consider myself more of a big movie guy than a show guy. Like, I feel like I find myself watching, movies when they freshly come out, or rewatching or going back to watch some older good ones. But with shows, I don't know. I have trouble, like, going back to watch some of the great ones, which, again, I know that if I watched, I would love them, but I just don't. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, I started watching early 2022, caught up on the first 3 seasons. Amazing, 9 out of 10 show. A great show going into season 4. And I like season 4. I thought season 4 was pretty damn good as well. There were even some scenes that got me emotional, bro. I was attached to this show. It was great. So going into season 5, I was stoked for it. And it was just a massive letdown, bro. And I've seen a lot of people making a lot of good points on this, where when you sign up for, a 10-year project, and I don't think that was the goal going into it. I don't think it was like, oh, we're going to have this show for 10 years long. I think COVID messed up a lot, but it's like you have these child actors, and it's like you're not 100% sure how they're going to pan out. You know what I mean? You don't know how many of them this is their dream necessarily. These kids were like 12, 13 years old when they were in these roles. I mean, a lot changes in that time. So there was just so much that went wrong in season 5, from the writing to the acting to the story, the plot holes. I mean, there's just so much that you can get into. I think during the finale, the biggest complaints you'll hear obviously is the big fight of Vecna and the Mind Flayer. I think I saw the numbers on it. That fight lasted like 6 minutes and 31 seconds. I think Will's coming out scene was like 6 minutes and 47 seconds. That was longer than the end fight that, like, we've been building up to this whole time. It was just like, I don't know. It felt super rushed. Like, and it didn't need to be. Like, you had your time. You took 3 years for this to come out. You had your time to build up a great story. You had a great show going up to it. And I think they went away from the source material, in my opinion. You watch, or if you go back and rewatch that first 2 seasons, and then you start watching season 5, I mean, it's a completely different show. And again, I don't think they needed to completely stay on that track that they did in that season 1 and season 2, but I think there was just a better way to go about it in season 5. And it's just like it took away from the feeling. It didn't even feel like an 80s show. Like, this show was supposed to take place in the 80s. It didn't feel like that. I didn't get that feeling. It felt very bright, even like the Upside Down. It didn't feel like it was scary anymore. It just felt like a dark place. It just felt like you were going outside at night. Like there was no real threats. I don't know. It was just so much to unpack with that final season. And it sucks to say because, again, I loved that show. I was a big fan of it. It sucked seeing online when people would be like hating on it, calling himself because the season 4 Eddie fans and a lot of cringe stuff kind of ruined it. But I was always a big fan of this show ever since I started watching it for the past few years. So it sucks that it comes to an end. And I even mentioned this to Jaden. I don't really rewatch shows unless it's like animated stuff. But I was definitely considering rewatching Stranger Things depending on how this last season went. And there's just no way that I can now. Like, even though, again, the first 4 seasons I think are 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 show with the first 4 seasons. It's just when you have an ending that bad, it just takes away from a lot of things that build up from that moment. In those earlier seasons, it's like, it's not going to hit the same when I'm rewatching those and then realizing that the end is just mediocre at best. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I think my rating for that finale, I want to say, was a 6.5. I think I give overall season 5 probably like a 7.3-ish around there, because I think there were some really high spots in there. I think the finale of volume 1 was pretty good. But again, even like the first few episodes, like even in that episode, I thought a lot of the writing and dialogue was really bad. And then volume 2 came out and it was just a bunch of nothing. And again, it felt like the writing and dialogue like dipped way down from volume 1. It's just like, it was nasty, bro. It was nasty, bro. So that's an unfortunate ending to how Stranger Things came to an end, and it sucks. It sucks. I wish it didn't go that way. I wish it went out. And I mean, you even got people online coming up with theories that the show's not over. There's going to be another episode, that they tricked us. There's people genuinely believing this. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. That people are convincing themselves that the Duffer Brothers lied to us and that there's another episode coming out. That's sad. That's sad when your fans are having to do that. And the theories that everybody's coming up with, way better than how the show actually ended. Should have had us ride it, and we'd have been all set. Show would have been great. But a sad ending to one of my favorite shows of all time. And with that, with Stranger Things, obviously, this ending blowing up all over social media. I've seen a bunch of things online, and there's a show, I want to say it's called Dark. I think it is. It's a Netflix original, and I've seen a lot of people talk about that. And I just saw a TikTok of a guy like posting his thoughts after like the first 2 episodes, and I think I'm gonna watch that. I think it's gonna be the first show or first new show that I watch in a while. I've had kind of my shows that I've kept up with, but I haven't really started a new show in a while. I'm up to date, obviously, with shows like, Stranger Things, The Boys, Invincible, things like that. But I've kind of wanted to start some newer shows, and that show that I just talked about, I want to say it's called Dark, is like looked at as like unanimously one of the better shows like ever. Like, you look at IMDb, it is nothing but 8.5s and better. And like a lot of it is like in the 9s. And I think it's only 2 seasons. I want to say like maybe 8 to 10 episodes a season. But I think that's a show I'm going to get into. And I'll probably come on here and talk a good amount about it if it's really good. I'll give it a try and see what it's hitting for. But yeah, I think that's everything. I think that's everything that I kind of wanted to get into in this episode. You get a little bit of, shows from me in this off the field talk. I guess I'll give you one more little thing. I opened up a box a few weeks ago. Again, this isn't really off the field. This still has to do with football. But I opened up a box of cards, I want to say 2 weeks ago now, like right after Christmas. I think the day after Christmas. And I pulled a case hit Shador. I might have talked about that on here now that I'm saying it again. And I sold all those cards to my local card shop. I got a good amount back for it. I totaled it up. I pulled together all of my best pulls that I had. I had like some good like rookies in there, like Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix. Sold them all to my card shop. I want to say for a total of $115. I think I had all the cards that I had. I think it was like 20 something. The total, I think it was like 26 cards. The total that came up to it, I think, was like 130. And I had them all labeled, but I was like, if you want, you can take all these. I'll give you all these for 115, or if you want, you can just pick out which ones you want. And he was able to do that. I also had like, I think $31 cards. I gave him for 25. So I came up a little bit there. So I got, close to 150 that I'm about to go spend on some new boxes here. But one of my biggest problem with these boxes that I'm having, whenever I go to a store, I feel like because I'm going there to get a box, I feel forced to buy a box. And sometimes I'll buy boxes that I don't really want or like. Like I bought an unlicensed box the other day, and it's like it was a guaranteed like 4 autographs and a jersey worn patch, but it's unlicensed. I didn't pull any good college players, and I was pretty pissed about it. And it was like $40. But I'm like, if I'm getting 4 autographs, like maybe I pull, a Fernando Mendoza and get lucky. But that was bad. I got to stop doing that. I got to only buy boxes that I for sure like or know are good products, like Phoenix. Phoenix has a lot of good things. I mean, I bought, I think, 4 boxes over the past 2 weeks, and those things are just flying out with numbered cards. I think I even pulled like a rookie. I think it was for the Chargers. I can't remember his name, but it was like numbered to 99. And I was like, shit, bro, if I pull a Jackson Dart type of thing, Ashton Genty, Teteroa McMillan numbered to 99, I'm like, bro, I'd be stoked. But yeah, that will do it for off the field and everything that I wanted to get into. So I will see you guys next time after this great wild card weekend, hopefully full of great games, full of high scoring, close games. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. We're out. Peace.